You know, for so many of us, that first cup of coffee in the morning, it's just sacred. It's a ritual. But what if I told you that simple cup holds untapped potential? Maybe even the key to changing how our bodies and brains age? Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly that. How to leverage your daily coffee habit to tackle the biggest challenges of getting older.
And this idea from geriatric specialist Dr. Richard Coleman really just stops you in your tracks. When he says delivery system, he's not talking about cream or sugar. What he's really saying is that your coffee is this perfect vehicle for delivering powerful health-boosting compounds right into your system first thing in the morning when your body can really use them.
So yeah, that's the big question, right? How do we actually do that? Well, based on Dr. Coleman's work, we are going to break down 5 specific science-backed powders you can add to your coffee, and each one targets a key pillar of aging well. We're talking about boosting blood flow, stabilizing your metabolism, literally rebuilding your brain, and fueling your cells.
All right, first up, raw cacao powder. And no, I'm not talking about that sugary hot chocolate mix from the baking aisle. We mean the real, unprocessed stuff. And it's all about tackling one of the biggest issues we all face as we get older, the health of our arteries and blood vessels.
And you know, this is something a lot of us worry about. As our arteries get stiffer, it doesn't just strain our heart. It actually reduces the amount of oxygen and nutrients getting to our most important organ, our brain. And that's exactly where something as simple as cacao can be a total game changer.
So where did this idea even come from? Well, it's a fascinating story about the Cuna people in Panama. See, scientists noticed this group had incredibly low rates of high blood pressure, and they traced it back to one thing. They drank a ton of cacao. Turns out the secret is a molecule called nitric oxide, and cacao sends your body's production of it through the roof.
So, what does nitric oxide do? Well, it's a vasodilator. Fancy word, but think of it like a traffic cop for your bloodstream. It literally signals your blood vessels to relax and open up, letting blood flow freely. Better circulation to your brain means better cognitive function. Better circulation to your heart means less strain. It's absolutely critical.
Okay, but this is super important. If you're going to do this, the temperature of your coffee matters a lot. Those amazing compounds in raw cacao, they're delicate. If you dump it into boiling hot coffee, you'll literally destroy the benefits. So let it cool down just a bit, then whisk in a tablespoon. It's a tiny step that makes all the difference.
All right, from blood flow, let's pivot to our second powder, cinnamon. We're shifting gears here to talk about metabolic health, because as we get older, our cells can get a little, well, stubborn. They don't listen to insulin as well as they used to, and that can lead to all sorts of issues with blood sugar.
You know that feeling, that afternoon crash, or that brain fog you get after a meal? A lot of the time, that's your body struggling to manage glucose. It's having a hard time getting sugar out of your blood and into your cells for energy. But there's a very specific kind of cinnamon that can give your body some serious help.
Okay, you need to pay attention here, because this is not a small detail. Most of the cinnamon you see at the store is cassia cinnamon. And it has high levels of a compound called coumarin, which can actually be risky for your liver if you take it every day. What you need to look for is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes called true cinnamon. It's much, much safer for daily use. And the way it works is it's really cool. Certain compounds in Ceylon cinnamon act like a key. They basically mimic insulin, helping to unlock your cells so that glucose can get inside where it belongs. Just a half teaspoon in your coffee can help prevent that big blood sugar spike after a meal, leaving you with much more stable, even energy.
All right, so we've hit our circulatory system and our metabolic system. Now it's time to talk about the command center, the brain. And for this, we're looking at a medicinal mushroom that's been making huge waves in brain research. It's called lion's mane. You know, for the longest time, the thinking was that as you get older, your brain just declines, and that's it. But now we know that's not true. We know about neuroplasticity. Your brain has this incredible ability to heal itself, to form new pathways, but it needs the right building blocks to do the job.
And this is what makes lion's mane so special. It has these unique compounds that are small enough to get past the brain's security system, the blood-brain barrier. And once they're inside, they do something amazing. They stimulate something called nerve growth factor, or NGF.
I love the way Dr. Coleman explains this. He says to think of nerve growth factor as the set of instructions that tells your brain cells, hey, repair yourself, build new connections. As we age, our NGF levels naturally go down, and that's linked to things like brain fog. Lion's mane basically helps give your brain back some of those instructions it's been missing.
Okay, but if you're going to go out and buy this, you have to listen to this next part.
You can't just buy any lion's mane powder. It absolutely must be a dual extract. That just means it was processed with both hot water and alcohol. Why? Because that's the only way to pull out all the different good compounds. If it's not dual extract, you're just not getting the full benefit.
All right, on to our final pair of powders. And these two get right down to the absolute foundation of our health, how our cells make energy and how they repair themselves. We're talking about two powerhouses, creatine and glycine.
So creatine. I bet when you hear that word, you think of bodybuilders at the gym, right? Well, that stereotype has done a huge disservice to everyone else. The reality is, creatine is a fundamental fuel source for any cell that uses a lot of energy, and that absolutely includes your brain cells.
Think of it like this. Your body runs on an energy currency called ATP. Every time a brain cell thinks a thought, it spends some ATP. Creatine's job is to be the ultimate recycling system, rapidly turning that spent energy back into fresh, usable ATP. It's like a backup battery pack for your brain, fighting off that mental fatigue.
And you know what's great about creatine? No guesswork. The dose has been studied to death, and it's simple, 5 grams a day. That's it. It's about a teaspoon. The only other thing to remember is to drink plenty of water with it, because it helps pull water into your cells, which is exactly what you want for a healthy brain and healthy muscles.
And finally, we have glycine. This little amino acid is kind of an unsung hero, and it does 2 huge things. First, it's a key ingredient your body needs to make its own master antioxidant, glutathione, which protects your cells from damage. And second, it's a critical building block for collagen, the stuff that literally holds your joints, skin, and arteries together.
Okay, take a breath. I know that was a fire hose of information. Cacao, cinnamon, lion's mane, creatine, glycine. You might be thinking, where do I even begin? But listen, the goal here is not to turn your morning coffee into a complicated science experiment overnight. So let's make this easy. Here's your game plan. Don't add everything at once. Just pick one. What's your top priority? If it's brain fog, maybe start with lion's mane. If it's energy levels, maybe try the creatine. Add just that one thing to your coffee for a couple of weeks and just listen to your body. Pay attention. How do you feel? It will tell you what's working. And really, this all comes down to one core idea. This isn't just about living longer. It's about feeling better for longer. It's about extending your health span, the number of years you feel vital and clear and capable. These small daily habits, they are profound investments in the quality of your future.
So now, that simple cup of coffee you have every morning, it looks a little different, doesn't it? It holds so much more possibility. The question is, what will you make of it? Will it just be your morning wake-up call? Or will it become your daily strategic investment in the person you want to be 10, 20, even 30 years from now? That choice is all yours.